have one. It's just said, hey.
All right, ready to go?
Sure.
Hello, and welcome back to the CZ Media Podcast. This is going to be technically my first show of the year, even though I did record 2 others, but I have made mistakes and haven't posted them yet. So thank you for watching. If you want to follow us on all the socials, it's CZ Media Podcast. Lately, I've been posting a ton of record stuff, ironically enough.
That's great for me.
So if people want to see what I'm listening to on any given day, they can follow me. And then check me out on YouTube, CZ Media Podcast. And don't forget to check out my new show with Kelly, my boy Kelly, KCYZ Nerd Radio. I'll link it. It's a weekly show. We're on fire. We're on 6 weeks in a row. Consistency is difficult. It's hard to be consistent. And so we're doing it and talking about records and wine. Do you like wine?
I do.
Oh, I should have asked you if you wanted me to open a bottle, but
It's okay.
it's noon.
It is.
We just came back from Woodinville, so we have about 2 boxes of cool stuff.
This sounds delightful.
Yeah, so thank you. So today I'm super happy. I am speaking with Beth Curtis. Hello, Beth.
Hello.
And you are the owner of Atomic Genius Record Shop in Puyallup.
Correct.
So I'm over here talking about records, and I can nerd out mega about turntables and speakers and receivers, but it all comes down to going to a record store and spending an hour there flipping through stuff, and you're the person who makes that happen. So first, thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So you own a record shop. We talked a little bit about, we in our intro conversations, you opened up this shop just at the end of shutdown.
Yes.
And you used shutdown as planning to get this shop open.
I did.
So tell me about that. Like why records? Have you been a music lover forever? Give me the history.
I have been a music, excuse me. I have been a music lover for probably since I was about 10, maybe even before that. It wasn't always records. Records didn't come until later. I think I started collecting again 2015, somewhere in there. But records were just fun, and it was something that is tactile. It forces you to be in the moment. You have to take the record out of the sleeve. You have to put it on the record player, and you can't just swipe
right.
Swipe. If you don't like a song, you can't just skip it to the next one. Especially if you have a manual player, you have to either just tough it out and get through it, or you just pick it up and flip it over.
Yeah. Yep. It forces you to do something.
You have to engage.
Right now.
Yep.
Not, I'm going to save it for a bit. Like, you have to do it right this second.
You have to be present.
So what, when you were growing up, what types of music did you listen to?
Well, so I grew up in a really tiny town in Eastern Oregon. So we had a couple of radio stations that were prevalent there. It was just whatever was like, on the radio. So it was mostly just rock. AC/DC, Ozzy, Guns N' Roses. That was probably my main kickoff when I was in high school. It was the one that grabbed me and didn't let go for a long time. Appetite for Destruction was a thing. That was the first tape I bought.
Nice.
Yeah. And yeah, it's come a long way now.
Yeah, so you're rocking out to some Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Now, was your school the way mine was, where everything is polarized? You go anywhere, there's 2 camps. my middle school was mega polarized, and there was one half of the class, mostly the boys, who were super into rap, and that's all they listened to. Then you had the other half who only listened to Metallica and that type of heavy metal, and the two did not cross.
No, they wouldn't at that time.
They would not cross. And you know, we, as I mentioned before, I wasn't really super into music, so I didn't really care. And I remember there was only two Mexican kids in my school, and the other one loved Metallica, and he would be what you would call now a burnout. He had the mullet. He wore the Metallica shirts that had holes in it.
Yeah.
Always smelled like weed.
Yeah.
And he hated me. He did not like me at all because I was semi-friendly with the other group of guys who liked the rap. And yeah, he considered me tainted, which is, it's so weird. It's like, bro, we're supposed to bond because we're the only two Mexican boys in this whole school. It's like, we're not supposed to dislike each other.
Right.
But no, it didn't work. So is that your experience?
No. I was in high school mid to late 80s. I graduated in 89. So I suspect I'm quite a bit older than you.
No, I graduated in 96.
Okay.
Just a tad. But
so rap really wasn't a thing in my high school. It was either country music or rock and roll, heavy metal, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so you didn't. Yeah, it took that out of the equation.
Kind of, yeah. Not to mention, I was what I like to call a floater. It's a horrible expression, but I lived outside of the city limits, and until I could actually drive myself, I was relegated to the school bus. So I didn't hang out after school. I grew up more in isolation, I think, than most do. But it was high school was just what was on the radio.
Yeah, just top 40
top
stuff.
40 stuff, yeah. I really didn't start digging into like other avenues until I got to college, because that's where the influences that I had never seen before started coming in.
Well, what surprised you? They're like, hey, where has this stuff been around forever?
Yeah, well, yeah, I would say it was when I moved to Seattle is when I started like really getting exposed to stuff I had never even dreamed was even possible. I found myself strangely attracted to the industrial music of the time, like Skinny Puppy and Einstürzende Neubauten, and then the dream pop stuff like Cocteau Twins, and more emo stuff like the Cure.
Oh, I know who they are.
You do?
I don't know who anyone else is that you mentioned.
That's okay. It's okay. Ministry. You'd probably recognize the name Ministry. No.
No.
That's okay. Probably one of my favorite genres is trip hop. So Massive Attack. Portishead goes in there a little bit. You're looking at me like you don't know any of these.
I don't.
It's all good. But
this is the beauty of talking to people who dig music.
Yeah, you can go check it out and see if it floats your boat, and if it does, you're gonna be exposed to this really. It's a really finite genre of music. It didn't really expand, but it was very very influential for later on, I think.
Okay.
How do I describe it? It's, you know who Incubus is?
Yes.
So they do a little bit of the scratching and kind of that hip hop production value.
Okay.
They're more of a rock band,
right?
With using that, whereas like trip hop, you're gonna have more of an amalgam of dream pop and hip hop and just sampling and other things that
Okay.
kind of make this different sound.
I will put one of them on my. What was that last one that you mentioned?
I'll go with Massive Attack.
Massive Attack.
Mezzanine is the one I would recommend to start with, because it's
I have heard of the name Massive Attack.
so you know that show House,
Yeah.
right? It was a popular
doctor?
The Doctor.
Yeah.
Their intro is one of their songs. So Teardrop is one of their more popular songs, and the lady who sings on it, Elizabeth Fraser, she is the singer for Cocteau Twins.
Teardrop Massive Attack. It's like Trent Reznor stuff.
It's not as heavy.
What is that, 9 Inch Nails?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like this stuff.
Yeah.
And actually, I have listened to a few. I mean, 9 Inch Nails is on my list of one of the albums that I want to get. I've listened to. Well, have you seen the documentary Sound City?
Oh yeah.
So I think I've seen that probably a dozen times. And then towards the end, he talks about how digital and doing stuff on a computer, like it's not a crutch, it's a tool. And and that song that he did with Dave, and like that sounded pretty cool.
Yeah, he uses that technology as an instrument.
Yeah, to expand.
Yeah.
So that's the stuff. So like, were you like, when you would listen to music, is it like in your bedroom, lying there, headphones on, blaring, or with speakers? Like, did you have a setup in your room where you had privacy so you could appreciate the music? Because I didn't have that when I was a kid. We had one stereo that my parents controlled, and only Christian stuff could be played on it. I couldn't play anything.
Oh,
but eventually I did. Yeah. Eventually I did get a Walkman, and I tell this story the other day. So I went to shout out to Anne from Retro Emporium. I went there a few weeks ago, and she had an Ice-T Original Gangster record.
That's awesome.
And I just started to laugh immediately, because when I was in middle school, I had that tape, and I've actually, after 30 plus years, I conditioned myself to, when I fall asleep, I need to be listening to something.
Oh, okay.
So if it's not a book, it's a podcast. True crime is what it is now. So I fall asleep listening to true crime podcasts.
Influence your dreams.
Yeah.
Make your dreamscape a little freaky.
They can get pretty nutty, especially when they play like 911 calls.
Oh gosh.
And you're sort of waking up and you hear people screaming. It's a little bit.
It sounds horrific.
It actually does. Yeah. But I can't fall asleep without it. It just won't work. But no. So when I was a kid, I had my Walkman on, and I would fall asleep listening to Original Gangster. And my mom came in one night, heard it, and she took it. She took my Walkman, but didn't tell me anything. She just took it.
Thief in the night.
And then that Sunday after church, my mom goes, "We need to go talk to the pastor." And the pastor of the church had my Walkman.
Oh no.
And he was playing it, and they sat me down, and they weren't mad. They were asking me questions of, "Do you know what this means?"
Right.
And I'm like, "Oh, he sells drugs, I guess." It's like I don't know. And then it's like, "Why do you listen? Why do you think this is good?" It's like, "Why do you like this? How does it make you feel that you like this?" And I had no good I was in 6th grade. It's like I did not have any good answers. And they actually gave it back to me. I think they actually gave it back to me. But when I saw that record, I was like, I have to get this, because I'm not a big fan of rap now as an adult, but I just have to get it because there's an emotional connection to it.
There is, and it's I think it's I mean, I'm not an expert or anything, but just what I see in the store every day in my own personal experiences, the music, regardless of what format it's in, records or it for me, they have a memory connection, a time, a place, a smell, a feel.
Yep.
It comes back to that because people come in the store and they see a record and they're like, oh my God, my parents had this, and I can remember any particular record that was in my folks' collection. I can remember, laying on the floor listening to it. They had this big console that had the disco lights in the speakers.
Nice.
Right. And I remember it well, just listening to these things and it's just a time and a place. The memories, the stories. There's stories that surround all of these things.
Too, right. I mean, that's what music's supposed to do, I guess, right? It's like you don't really want to be... I reckon our musicians are similar to other types of artists where you don't want someone to look, hear, consume your art, and then to just be like, it's neither here nor there. It's like you want someone to have a definite opinion over it.
Yeah.
I believe. So
you want it to invoke something.
Right. I want to make you feel some way. And I've had these conversations with my film friends where there was a movie it's a new movie. Oh, I forget what it's called. But I personally believe that this is one of the worst movies ever made. And my friend goes, why do you feel so strongly about this? And I said, because everything about this movie is utter trash. It's complete nonsense. It is. It's. I don't remember the name of it, but I was probably a little bit buzzed. This back and forth texting with him of telling him why I think it's trash. And then at the end he goes, you know what? That is exactly what this filmmaker wanted from his audience. It's like, I'm sure that if he realized of how much hatred you have to it, that he would be completely okay with it because he just wanted to hit a nerve,
right?
Whether in agreement or the opposite. I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right.
Yeah,
you're right. Then I said, you know what? I don't care about this movie anymore.
Next subject.
Next. So what songs for that? What songs fall into that with you? Like I have my original Gangster Story. Like what do you have?
I don't know. I'll have to ponder that for a few minutes.
Yeah, that's one where like it's something major had to have happened. I was gonna say something a little bit morbid.
Go ahead.
I don't know if I should say it. I had an older cousin. I was 11 and she took her life. And the story that her younger sister told when all of that happened was that Walk Like an Egyptian was playing loudly from her room. And she told this to me 11, 12 years old. So it's like every time I hear Walk Like an Egyptian, it puts me right back to 1989. And then what happened there. And it hits because she was nice to me. Like I was I was like 8 years younger than her. She worked at Burger King and my mom would take me to Burger King and my cousin would smile and then give me food. So it's like, that's how you warm your way into your cousin's heart, is by giving them free food from Burger King. But that's Walk Like an Egyptian, which is, is it the Bengals?
It is the Bengals.
It's the Bengals.
And it's just a full on pop song.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was just so happened to have been playing on the radio or if there was an album or anything, but it's just that's what she said, that was blaring from her room. And I mean, not that particular thing, but that's what all of these snapshots in time,
they connect
how we connect with them.
Yeah, that connects to a memory that evokes a strong emotional response.
Right.
Yeah.
I wish I had more with food. I want to expand my food palette to be able to say, hey, no, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. I wish that I had paid more attention to the restaurants that I've been to, if they had made an impression.
Uh-huh.
Because, well, and the reason this came up because I was talking to a buddy and they were asking about the weird stuff that we've eaten. And I'm like, man, I used to travel a ton for work, a ton in Mexico and South America and some to Europe. And I've eaten some pretty weird stuff, but because I didn't really pay attention to what I was eating, it was more of, I can tell you who I was talking to. I can tell you what we did afterwards, but not the actual food. And it's like, I guess it just goes back to, it's like, what are you paying attention to? If it doesn't register, then I just overlooked it. It wasn't really that important to me.
Right. What had the biggest impact at the time during the situation?
Yeah. Yeah. So so as you're collecting, are you a collector? I guess I should ask.
I'm a collector of music that I like for whatever reason. I'm not a collector in the sense that I don't go for first editions, or I'm not looking for, that the Butcher album by the Beatles because it's got high value. Most of my collection is more from how it makes me feel and what it invokes from there.
It does format matter? Like, do you prioritize vinyl to CD to tape?
Well, mainly what I do now is it's pretty much all vinyl because that's what I do in the shop. I don't carry CDs in the shop unless it's like a local artist. Generally, they don't have the resources to get vinyl pressed because it's pretty expensive.
Right.
And you can, if you get the right equipment, you can just burn a CD.
That's right.
Happy to support the local kids. Always happy to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But with that being said, I haven't thrown any of my CDs away, and I'm not going to get rid of them because not everything is out on vinyl that's affordable to get.
Yeah.
So, case in point, Tool's Enema. It's not been in print for years. I have had the CD forever. I still like to listen to it, so I'm going to keep it.
And you're not going to go on Discogs and get an original copy?
I'm not paying $500 for it.
Is that how much they are?
I don't know. I haven't looked that one up lately, but
so you're a practical collector.
I am. I do it for my purely my own enjoyment, and I play everything that I get. I don't buy something and keep it sealed to put it on the shelf so that maybe someday it'll be worth more.
Not an investor.
Not to that, not in that sense. I'm an investor to the music. I like to be able to consume the music.
Right, in your time to enjoy it.
Yes.
That's what you're investing in.
Yes.
I wish I had more of that in me. I'm a lunatic. I do like the I want the Beatles Red Album. So what is it? 62 to 66? Yeah, I think that's what it is. Okay. And I've been there's a local guy. His name is Norman Maslov. Have you heard of him? Mm-mm. He's from here, and he has a YouTube channel where that's all he talks about is. And he worked in the industry, in the music industry, in the 70s or somewhere around there. And that's all he does is talk about his record collection, but just about the music. And he was doing not necessarily a comparison, but he was talking about his different versions of the same Beatles albums. Mm-hmm. And then he goes, if you want this Red Album, you should really try to find an analog pressing of it. And it, like, that type of stuff just sticks in my head. So now I'm calling every record store and saying, do you have an analog pressing of the Beatles Red Album? And I guess they're hard to find. So then I'm thinking, all right, that means that I'm going to have to go on Discogs, and then who knows how much this is going to be, but I'm a moron, so I'm probably going to pay it because this one guy said that an analog pressing probably sounds a scotch.
They do sound different. The different pressings, there's definitely that aspect to it, but I'm by no means an expert. I learn as I go. So
you're not a nerd with the whole hi-fi and wanting the right cartridge for the right album and the right receiver.
I think there's value in that. If it's important to people, then that's great, and to each their own. And I get it. I listen to my records in the store, so there's always other stuff going on. So I'm not gonna have, thousands of dollars worth of equipment.
You have a beautiful turntable.
Thank you.
That is a great looking turntable.
It is. It is.
I've gone
It is a very nice unit.
and yeah, that whole shop I'm a horrible host. Tell me about Atomic Records. How did you design it from the inside? How did you come up? Where did you find that awesome print that is in that back room? That looks
the wallpaper.
like, you know what it made me think of? Well, because I love horror music. It's like, this is a place where Lestat would come and someone would be playing a harp. There would be this huge chandelier there and a bunch of people in, 17th century Victoria dress. I wouldn't mind. Are you a Seinfeld fan? It's like, I wouldn't mind hanging out back there with the puffy shirt on, doing this to my sleeves.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah.
It is so awesome. Tell me about that.
Thank you. Well, it's funny actually. I when I was dreaming this up and just basically daydreaming about it, I wanted to go with a cross between a speakeasy and, forgive me everybody, but like an old 1920s 30s brothel, right? that damask print that I've got back there,
Yeah.
that's what that is, and the red and black just kind of fit.
Yeah.
And I was able to find some wallpaper online and got some samples, and it basically started building from there.
It looks awesome.
Thank you.
I envisioned changing this out because I put that's cement wallpaper behind you. I envisioned doing something like that here, or even like this. I was like, that would be super cool.
Yeah.
Actually, going to your shop made me start to think of how this whole space is laid out, because it's, that room back there is a intimate room.
Mm-hmm.
And just the way it looked with the art on the wall, with definitely that what's it called? The
damask.
Damask.
It's the print.
Yeah. So it's like, man, I was like, it's inviting. It makes you just want to sit there and have a French 75. And it's like, how can I do this here? It's like, that's what I want here. So you got me thinking of, what can I do different?
Well, that makes me happy that it inspired you.
Yeah, this will change. Like, I don't know what I was thinking of going with the plain old gray wall. I kind of thought because it was going to be covered up with this stuff that it wouldn't make that much of a difference. But I don't like it. I need to change it. I want to incorporate that turntable into it. That's one of those Magnavox cabinets from the... I think that one's like 69.
Yeah.
And it mostly works.
The whole mid-century modern thing.
Yeah. And even with this, I sort of went mid-century with looking for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a lot of records in your shop. I would say you have more used than new.
Yeah. I would say it's probably about a 60-40 split.
60-40 split. When it comes to new records, so how many... So are there labels that sell the vinyl, or like I know 3 Man Records, for example, they do their own stuff.
Third Man Records, yeah.
Is that how most of the vinyl producers work?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Like who produces the vinyl? So for example,
so the labels work with pressing plants to get the vinyl manufactured.
So then when you want to be a vendor and you want to make orders,
you go through a distributor generally.
Oh, okay. So you don't deal with the label or the
I
pressing.
deal with some of the smaller labels directly, but that's not the norm. That almost gets to be a little unmanageable. The distribution channel, you can go and find a variety of things through one source. Yeah, so I've got probably about 5 different distributors that I go through for different reasons to go through them. Their selections are different.
Okay, like genre. I'm assuming some focus on different genres. And
Yeah, I just found
the wide range.
found a great one in California that focuses on hardcore punk rock.
Okay,
And they got some good stuff.
okay.
Yeah.
Now, I just barely learned about this on Record Store Day. That Record Store Day is its own thing.
It is.
And they just christen certain shops with the privilege of having a certain number of whatever it is that they're releasing.
Well, yeah, I can see how it's perceived that way. So Record Store Day, and I've only been doing it a couple of years, so forgive me, anybody, if I misspeak. I don't mean to. You have to sign a pledge that you're going to follow the rules of engagement. That's how you get to play. Is you sign a contract with them saying you won't hoard, you won't hold, you won't pre-sell anything. It's first come first serve. That's why people line up to get these special titles. And the reason that these independent record stores maybe only get 3 of a title is because there's like 1,500 roughly stores that participate. If they've got, say, a limited run of 4,500 units, they allocate across all the people that order. So if everybody ordered, you'd get 3 copies.
Okay, so it's just numbers then at that point. It's not necessarily, favoritism, I guess.
There is no favoritism. Yeah. At least there's not that I can tell.
Well, I assume they want to sell all of them, so they're
yes, that is the goal. Dead stock is no good to anybody.
Which man, the list was pretty big.
It usually is for Record Store Day.
How many did you carry? How many did you carry?
I think I don't remember. I want to say I had like 60 different titles.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot.
It's a lot. I'm a little tiny itty bitty boutique shop, so I have a budget. So just word out to the peeps. Once that list comes out, tell your local record store what you are interested in, because they may not order it if they don't know that somebody's looking for it.
Right.
We may not get but 2 copies of it, or even 1 copy. I've sometimes you don't get any. If it's a regional release, it all goes to that region. You won't get it. If it's like, Tennessee, Washington State's not going to get any.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's important, and they only give us 2 weeks to order.
Oh wow! So you have to be on it.
Once that cutoff is, you don't get to go back and say, oh, but I forgot, until it's all over, right?
Yeah.
And they have leftover stock, then you can go and buy it.
Do you have a favorite release from this past?
From this past one last year? I do, because I ended up with one of the coveted ones because I bought a record. It was Poe's Hello.
Okay. I don't know that one either.
That's okay.
By coveted, you mean they sold out?
Yeah.
Most places sold out.
Well, it was a limited release, and it was a Record Store Day exclusive, which means they're not going to press it again. And when I say coveted, I'm tongue in cheek, right? Not everybody's into Poe. It's a very niche thing, just like anything else.
Is that POE?
Yeah, she's a female singer-songwriter, and she was doing it in the 90s, which is probably for me my favorite period, just because of the different genres that came up in that time frame. And it's not just about the grunge thing, it was about the trip hop thing. That's when that was going on. And that's when alternative started. So all of those were the original alternative.
Got it. So as you listen to that, you're like, man, it's like, did you ever think, why didn't this person hit it so big as another group that did something like? I think that's a really funny, not funny, just an overall interesting path that the universe decides to take. It's like there's 2 people who have similar talent, similar styles, but whether it be a helping hand from a friend, one just skyrockets into, you know, into everything, you know, to the zeitgeist, and the other one not so much.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of luck. It's a lot of stuff is in the air, and if you don't happen to be floating on that breeze, you might not get as big of an outing.
Yeah, an out. So so that was your record store day. Yeah, I didn't know what record store day was, but since I'm a sucker for anything that says limited,
Right.
I'm a total sucker for anything that says limited. I got my email from Silver Platters, and they made this whole big deal about of getting there early, asking for a list, but not lining up because they didn't want a line. But also you couldn't go inside. They didn't want you inside the store. So I'm like, holy cow. So it's the day after Thanksgiving, and I get to Silver Platters like an hour before this thing starts. But I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And then finally someone just hands me this, 5 pieces of paper. And then like, here, tell us what you want and we'll go get it for you. It's like, I can't shop this way. And then I'm looking through it and I'm like, I have no idea what any of this is.
Yeah. Different stores do it different ways. People line up in front of the store and come in, and we've got all of the titles segregated. They're in the gallery, which is that room you were describing. Mm-hmm. Keep them separate, and that way it just, people go in there, they look through the stuff, grab it, and go. So.
Yeah. Do you get those people that just like to hang out? They're like, they just want to.
Oh, during record store day?
Well, no, just customers.
Oh yeah.
Like we'll just go and just look through every
it's
single
half the
thing.
fun, the digging, the it's the chase. Human nature says that the people like to chase things, and
yeah, I'm starting to be that way now. And then I'm super happy that so the way I learned about your store is that I took my mother-in-law to a doctor's appointment. Mm-hmm. And as I was waiting for her, I just Google mapped record stores near me, and yours came up. And then I turned to Donna. I was like, do you want to go on an adventure with me? She's like, sure. I was like, let's go to a record store. And then we went, and then I'm like, man, this place is super cool. So, I mean, that's sort of been my habit for a year, is if I'm wherever I am, just do the little search. Mm-hmm. And I could have been there for a whole lot longer. Probably was all by myself. Like, I'm not going to have my 83-year-old mother-in-law wait for me. But you had so much stuff that I'm assuming it's because of your tastes, and like, I'd never seen those records before, those albums before.
Yeah, I have eclectic taste. I listen to all kinds of different stuff, and I like to have variety. I have control over the new records. I don't have so much control over used. I mean, I can choose to buy something or not, but it's dependent on somebody bringing it in.
Right.
Whereas new pressings, I can go through the catalog, and I can say I like that, and I want one of those, and one of the 3 of those.
That must be fun.
It is fun.
Is that a solo thing for you? Do you have a partner that helps you through that? It's all you?
I mean, I get input. I take requests. I do special orders. So if you're ever looking for something, just let me know. I'll see if I can find it.
For?
What are you looking for?
Mexican music.
That's been a popular request lately. I need input for that to be able to appropriately succeed at that challenge.
I don't know. Well, specifically Mexican pop music from the 80s. So it's stuff that you can't get new. That's what I've been looking for at every record shop, is their old.
You want a little menudo?
No, no, it's more of
See, that's the thing. If you leave it up to me and I don't know a thing about it, you're gonna get a bunch of junk.
I'm gonna get menudo. No, there's a few bands, groups from the 80s and they're Mexican. Los Temerarios is one. Los Bukis, Los Tigres del Norte is like the more ranchero brand, norteño music with accordions and stuff like.
Oh, that sounds fascinating.
I was at Georgetown Records and I always go to their Latin section, which it bugs me that they put Mexican in the Latin section. But you can't have. I'm being nitpicky.
I just do mine alphabetically. Last name or band name. Keeps it really simple.
That's a great.
Don't you have a middle section?
That's a great section.
Sorry, dude. You got to know what you're looking for.
And I saw this record. It's old. The cover was very, very worn. But man, I was so happy. I didn't even look to see how much they wanted. I just took it. And
That's
it's like
awesome.
any of these that I find. And they do have them on Discogs, everything that I want. But, you know, and I think we spoke about this at the shop, where I am like, it has to be the last resort for me to buy anything that I collect online, because I prefer to buy local.
You want to see it?
Yeah. It's like
Touch it.
I'm a sneakerhead, as you can see. And all of those I got from local shops. I love cameras. I try to get them from local shops.
That's awesome.
I don't like, because a lot of people go, like the hashtag support small. Like people love to post stuff like that. And then, but I reckon that it's them just trying to make themselves feel better, because when you ask them, they don't have a shop that they go to, or if they do, they'll say, no, I'm not going to get it from them because I could get it for $10 cheaper on someplace else. And I'm like, well, then tone it down with the
With the shop logo.
with the shop local, because that's what shop local means.
Yeah, well, they do pay rent. They have to pay the rent, and commercial space is
Yeah.
inexpensive.
It's important. It's important to actually shop local.
It is, because it creates community and it creates culture.
Yeah. And well, it's, building the relationship. So it's like the chances of you coming across a Temerarios record is probably low.
Pretty low.
But if it does happen, you're like, hey, I know this weirdo dude who might want it.
Well, I definitely wouldn't describe you that way, but I once I wrote it down and could be able to spell it appropriately, I would go looking for it. And if I found it, I would make your day by saying, hey, dude, this is going to be here next week.
That would be awesome.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, heck yeah, that would be. Although, and I don't know if this is true. So, who I keep on talking to, my buddy Kelly, his brother fronted a band in the 80s called Q5.
Okay.
And they're great. And they have a album called Shattering the Mirror, which I love. But I went to a record store that I'd been going to for a bit. And the guy kind of knows me now. And I've asked him once or twice if he had any Q5. And it was always no. Well, anyway, like, I don't know, a month ago, 2 months ago, I went and I found he had a Q5, $45. And
Well, is it brand new?
no.
Oh.
I sent that picture to my buddy, and then he goes, they are insane for pricing this at $45.
Yeah, it depends on where he found it. If he bought it at a retail price, then he's putting his markup on it. It just depends. I'm sure there's a bigger story to it.
Not that I feel that I'm a needle mover, that I'm that I make stuff happen. But I bet you, as he was getting through this, he's like, you know what? I've had this guy come in and ask about this a few times. If I overpay, or if I price this at, I'm pretty sure that he'll get it. There was a little bit of I would say that there has to be a little bit of that, because
There might be. I don't know. I personally, I don't go and buy stuff like through Discogs and bring it into the store, because you, as a consumer, can go do that yourself. I'm happy to point you in the direction, say, hey, I found this on Discogs. You can go find it. They got 2 copies and you're going to pay this range. But if I can get it through my distribution, I just stick with the list price.
that is very
Keeps it clean. You don't have that conversation. Is he trying to gouge me, or is he trying to pull one on because he knows I want this? He's going to pay more?
I'm not saying it begrudge. I'm not saying it attacking, because again, well, because I'm familiar with how resale works.
Yeah.
Like the resale market works. So it's like, okay, I get it. It's like I would have never gone out purposefully to look for it.
Sure.
He did it. He sourced it.
Yeah.
He took the risk that I wasn't going to
Correct.
get it. So, okay.
As you do.
I'll pay my $45. And then I paid it. It's like I bought it. I paid it. But it's fine. I just chuckled to myself, wondering if that idea.
You're like, did he pay $15 for it, or did he just like 200% margin on that thing? Yeah, and it's hard to say.
And if you did, that is the beauty of building a relationship with your customers, because I'm still going to keep going. I mean, I might have overpaid for this one, but I'm pretty sure that I've bought something else that he that he priced for less at the time when he got it, and now it's worth a little bit more.
Right.
But this is where the other nerdy stuff, where it seems like you're not so keen on looking into. It's like how much something is worth now versus to resell it.
I won't say that I'll never get into that, because maybe down the road that's where the business model goes. But at this point, I don't got the time to do that kind of research. I got plenty of things to do.
And it's hard to do, because even with Discogs, the same album has maybe 5 different entries. It's not all.
Yeah, there's grading. There's insert thing here.
And so there's so the value on the low end and on the high end, if you're somewhere in the middle, I guess. But yeah, I'm starting to really annoy people by talking in those terms, but it's just a carryover from Stupid Shoes.
It's all the same thing, right? It's an aftermarket buy and sell.
Right.
Demand is what drives price.
And when you have weird, like nuts, people who are nuts like me, who will do it, who will actually. I'll tell you what the dumbest thing that I did. I paid $100 for a Kiss Dynasty album. That's super dumb.
Well, you must have gotten a pretty original press.
I guess. Here's the thing, and this is where I'm learning as I go. So now I'm doing more research, so I kind of know where stuff is now. It was just a dumb mistake.
Well, you learned something from it, right?
I learned something from it. And the
wasn't
guy
dumb.
asked me, it's like, are you going to listen to it? And it's like, yeah, I'm going to listen to it, because for the records that I buy, I actually do listen to. Yeah. Unlike those shoes where I don't wear them.
Right.
But cameras I use. Every camera has had lots of rolls shot through them. I actually do listen. So when you're at home, you go home after a hard day, do you put something on and...
Not usually.
No.
That's why my collection lives at the store.
Oh, okay. Your collection lives at the store.
It does, because I am mostly there.
So then you just stream, I'm assuming, YouTube Music. Do you use music to unwind, since unwinding from listening to music all day?
Yeah, I usually don't have enough time. I'm there. Good part of my waking hours is I live at the shop. Weekends are for laundry and random stuff.
And to take your time to be on these podcasts.
Oh, this is a blast. I've never done this before, so I hope it turns out to be a good thing for everybody.
People like to hear these types of conversations. So I can already imagine the messaging of the messages that I'm going to get.
Okay.
Like mostly of me telling me that I'm nuts, because I focus on I have one person who keeps on telling me, you focus on the wrong thing every time you have a conversation.
Well, you're definitely into the self-deprecation.
Well, self-awareness is something that I work really hard on.
Huh? Fair enough. Fair enough.
And, my poor wife, she's very patient with me. I tell you the dumb thing that I did. Yeah, that just showed that I'm just not very smart. I have an artist friend, the guy who made this. I went to his house on Saturday, and I'm not even gonna blame it on the booze because I wasn't even buzzed.
You're already setting the story up pretty good.
Well, he's an artist, but not he doesn't draw. Like he's just like he does just abstract stuff. His wife gave him a tattoo pen for Christmas. So he has a whopping 6 weeks worth of tattooing under his belt. And then I'm like, so we were there and I'm like, get that pen out. Let's get something on me. And then he goes, what do you want? I'm like, I said, you're just starting, so I'm not going to have it anywhere prominent. So I went to my feet. So I said,
that had to hurt.
I said, do my feet. And then I will admit that this is completely dumb. It is the dumbest thing that I could ever put on my body.
Okay.
And I did it more unironically than ironically, because I know it's a stupid thing to say.
Forgive my old eyes. I can't even see that.
It says do work.
On your foot.
My foot.
Did that hurt?
No. Oh. And then, one wasn't enough.
Oh, you went and got another one? On the other side?
So on the other side, it says, I love wife. Because that's what I call my wife. I just call her wife.
Yeah.
And yeah, she was not too happy with me. She's not too happy with me. But I told her this was inevitable. It was absolutely inevitable. You were not going to think that Evan got this tattoo gun.
And you weren't going to get a tattoo from him?
I was not going to get a tattoo from him. And it's like, I told her, no one's ever going to see it. And then she reminded me that I am barefoot 90% of the time.
Everybody's going to see it.
I'm like, yeah, you're right.
You're right.
But his record collection is pretty big. And the funny thing is that he does not pay that much attention to the sound quality, or that's not a priority.
It's not a priority for him.
So some of the records that we were listening to, man.
Pretty rough.
Oh, yeah. Like, so, one of them that was skipping, mega poppy, mega static.
Yeah, I draw the line to skippers. That's where I can't get past that. If it's a hard skip, if it jumps and it's a record that I've always wanted and I can't find it, then I'll put up with it to a certain level. I have a few of those in my current collection.
Yeah. That's tough. So I told him, man, you need to invest in an ultrasonic cleaner. Do you do that?
I do not.
I've been doing that. I was bamboozled into thinking you need to ultrasonic clean. So I have this whole area turns into a record cleaning production line when I get into it, because I have my stage 1 cleaning, then my stage 2 ultrasonic cleaning, then my drying station, then my putting them into the rice paper sleeves and the new outer sleeves. And again, all of the things outside of actually just listening to the music, that I need to work on that more. I need to, because lately I've been doing so much with tech. I upgraded this turntable. I got a new one that's upstairs, and they've each been back to the person who I got them from in Arlington, which is freaking far away.
That's very far away. To
do adjustments to them. So I'm learning stuff on the electrical side, but I'm done with that. I just want to listen. I've been listening a lot to Townes Van Zandt lately.
It's great.
And just calm down and do that. Did you see my I called it L tag.
Yeah.
2024.
L vinyl tag.
L vinyl tag. I kind of think that made people not know what it was. I think if I had just put
vinyl tag.
Yeah, vinyl tag, they would have I would have probably
picked up on a little bit more.
A little bit more.
I think you did just fine. I think it works for your whole everything you got going on.
Did you go through? Did you see any of those? Did you see any videos or?
Yeah, I watched most of that, and as I told you earlier, my attention span gets a little short.
It was 26 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Too long. It was too long. I considered just doing half of them, but I'm like, yeah, I don't have anything else better to do on this Saturday than to do this video.
I thought it was great. I think it's fun. It's one of those fun things that it lends insight to a person's personality when you get to see what their answers are.
I saw quite a few of them from other people.
Yeah.
And yeah, absolutely. It's like but then again, there's just so much music out there.
There is. And those answers are hard. I went through that myself, and I struggled on some of them. I'm like, you want to pick one? How can you possibly just pick one?
What was did it make you if you saw the questions, did any questions bring up memories of like, oh, I used to love this particular album, and then go back and start to listen to it?
Yeah.
I think that's what that whole purpose is like, for, stuff you forget.
Sure.
Because if you have, I don't know how my collection's not very big at all. It's like 150, I think. It's tiny.
Mine's increased quite a bit since I got the start, because the struggle is very real. I have to stick with a monthly budget, because I want all the things.
I hear you. But yeah, so for me, someone who doesn't have very many, there's already stuff that I've just completely forgotten about.
Sure.
And I do have it all written down. I am one of that's weirdos that actually goes and catalogs them.
Yeah.
So I go and look to see what I have. I'm like, oh, I have this, and then I go back and then I just start to listen to it again. But I think one of my favorite questions was, what country would you, if you could only listen to music from one country, which country would it be?
I do have an answer for this, and it's probably going to be a little bit controversial. Not everybody's going to agree with the answers that I give here, but they're mine. I'm going to go with England.
England?
Yep.
I struggled. I almost picked England.
It is a struggle, but England's where I landed.
Was it because of a certain band that you just couldn't live without, or was it just an amalgamation of a bunch?
So I think the main deciding factor was a genre of music that came out of a collective, and it's trip hop.
Trip hop.
I wouldn't be able to live without that in my life, because it's a go-to. But there's so many other artists that come out of there. And one of your favorites, Led Zeppelin. But I wouldn't be able to listen to Noel Gallagher. He's one of my favorites.
There's just so much.
There is.
It's Black Sabbath,
right?
Ozzy,
yep.
Led Zeppelin, of course, Beatles.
Yep.
Who's the Pink Floyd? No, are they? Yeah. Or even like Mick from Fleetwood Mac. He's British.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's like, yeah, there's just too much. I did struggle with that one. I went. I said my options are the U.S., Mexico, and England, and I thought I was quite funny because on the screen when I put the U.S., I put did you see that little video of the like America F yeah? It was a video like 3 years ago.
I don't think I caught
of an
that
eagle.
one.
It's a real life eagle that's just walking across this.
Okay.
Like almost like a swampy area. And they animate cartoon hands on him, and then he's. But the part that I include in there, it's like they have. He gets two machine guns, and starts shooting them in the air,
goodness.
and then he puts on a soldier hat, and then he puts on like aviator glasses, and then he salutes as an American flag is drawn going up.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious. So I put that video up for America, and then for Mexico, there's this weather woman in Mexico who got mega notoriety because the Mexican news is 100% wanting to get men's attention to pay attention to the weather. So it's her name is Yanette Garcia. She was like super popular for a year. And she would do it on purpose, where, I mean, she was very shapely. When she would turn, she turned in just the right way to where the camera got like the perfect silhouette of her shape. Well, anyways, so I put that. And then for England, I put a picture of King Charles smiling, and it's not great. I thought I was hilarious, but no one's agreed with me.
Well, now that you've mentioned it again, maybe you'll get some more commentary on it.
I think it's funny. I think it's absolutely hilarious. And the other question that I dug was, what's one record that you think no one has and one that everyone has?
So that again is a tough question, because if something's on vinyl, somebody's got it, right? Mm. But that being said, the one that I said that everybody has, that I have in my collection, because I tried to keep it within my collection, is Fleetwood Mac's Rumors. Everybody's got it, right?
So I picked that one.
Yeah. And my first choice would have been Thriller, because it is the best-selling album of all time to this day. Still, it's crazy. And then out of my collection, the one that I said the least amount of people, like nobody would have it, would be Concrete Blonde's Bloodletting. I brought it. You want to see it?
Yeah.
There's the answer to
Concrete Blonde.
Yep.
That's a great name, Bloodletting.
Yeah, so that came out during the 90s, obviously. And it was when Anne Rice's Interview with a Vampire was all the rage. Everybody was reading her books and all that kind of stuff. So it dovetailed into that whole vampire feel.
Oh.
The lady, the singer, she's got great tone. It's all about great tone for me.
Okay.
That's one of the things that gets me going, is if the vocals have a certain tone, or the players, like guitar players or bass players, have certain tone to them.
So would this do you play this in that room? In your vampire room?
No, I don't. I play it in the store though. My nephew got this for me.
I need to
Thank you, Russell. Love it.
I need to write that down too. So it's like I need to.
It's gothy rock.
Okay.
She's got kind of a blues bass feel to the band has a blues bass feel to it, but it's rock.
Yeah, I definitely don't have that one. My choice for mine was Klaus Nomi.
I don't think I've heard of that.
He was big in the 80s, German guy who did operatic pop music.
That's awesome.
And he dressed really weird, like Ziggy Stardust type of
glammy
stuff. Yeah. I learned about him because we went to a dinner show. What's it called? I forgot what that's called. Pioneer Square, there was this theater company that did a theater and a show, dinner and a show.
Oh, is it Teatro Zinzani?
No, it's like they do like musical stuff and the actors participate while you're eating.
Oh, okay.
But it's not acrobatic-y stuff. It's like a regular play.
Like a murder mystery type of thing?
Actually, the first one that we went to was a mystery.
Those are great.
So they did one about him, and I'm like, man, this is pretty neat. So every once in a while, I'll put that one on and blast it, and my wife will come home and say, "What is that?" It's really distinct sounding. Mm-hmm. Very synthy. It's like mega synth.
Yeah, so there's another artist that's more mid 2000s. Mika. I don't know if you're familiar with him. Mika.
Maybe.
It's got a real Freddie Mercury flair to him, but it's pop. It's very theatrical.
Ooh. Is this it? It says bloodletting.
That's Bloodletting, yeah. Concrete Blonde.
Yeah.
That's an intro.
Oh yeah, I like this. This is very Lost Boys.
It's good stuff.
Okay. This will go on right here. Add to library.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That is awesome. Let's see, what was this other one that we can end on? Was if you could invite 3 musicians.
Oh God, I struggled with this one. Okay.
If you could invite 3 musicians to dinner, living or dead, who would it be?
Well, that makes it easier because I was trying to go with 4, and I was having a hard time with the 4th one. So three past or present. Tobias Forge from Ghost, because he fascinates me. He's brilliant. Jim Morrison from The Doors, again, just a fascinating personality. And then what was the last one? I gotta use my cheat sheet.
Two vocalists so far.
Well, it's gonna be 3 because
3 vocalists.
Noel Gallagher was the last one.
No. So you want him to pick a fight with the other 2? Doesn't he
No.
have a reputation for being a troublemaker?
No, I wouldn't say he's a troublemaker. I think his brother's a little bit more of an insider. I think Noel, in my personal opinion, is more of a he's not if you say something that he doesn't agree with, or you get you instigate something, he's not going to back down.
Yeah.
He's going to tell you exactly what he thinks about it. He's like a cat.
So 3 vocalists.
I don't know why that is.
Where would you take them out to dinner? This is my own addition to this question.
I'd take him to the Pink Door.
The Pink Door. Jazz Alley, right? No.
Pike Place.
Yeah, the Pink Door.
Post Alley.
Post Alley.
Yeah.
The Pink Door. That's a interesting selection.
What can I say? It's a fantasy question,
Some
right?
champagne. I think of champagne when I think that place. I wonder why. Did I have champagne when I was there?
I don't know. Sometimes they have trapeze artists going above
it's like
you when
very
you're eating.
florally, isn't it?
I think it has almost a I don't know. It's kind of still sits in that vibe that the gallery room in the store has. I think
Yeah.
It's got that old gothic feel to it.
Yeah, I remember. Well,
You have to walk down the stairs to get
Yep.
to the.
It's been forever, but yeah, we've been there.
Yeah, it's a great place. They used to do burlesque in the back in the day. I don't know if they still do it there. I haven't been there in forever.
I hope it's still there. I think it is.
I think it is.
Yeah. I picked Dave Grohl.
He would
I
be
love Dave
great.
Grohl. And I picked Lars Ulrich.
Yeah.
And when I did this one, I didn't think of them ahead of time. Then for my third one, I picked Steve Perry.
Yep, I remember.
And that was a weird. I'm not exactly sure why I went Steve Perry, but as you can see, as my buddy goes, drummers. It's like 2 drummers. I'm like, yeah, I love the drums. You mentioned you love tone, so I'm assuming that when you listen to music, like vocals register first for you.
It depends on the piece of music. I like me a good instrumental.
Yeah. For me, when I come across a new song, it's the drums. And I could listen to a song 10 times, not know what the words are, but I keep on coming back because that drums. So any documentary about drums, I'll watch. I like, Travis Parker is pretty cool. There's this documentary on Netflix about female drummers that's super awesome.
Oh, I've seen that. It's great.
Yeah. I forget her name, but when she subbed in for Tommy Lee, I was like, that is awesome. That was so cool. It would have been good to have seen one of those shows. But drums, even when went out to go shop for drums, I'm like, that is so neat. I love the drums. If God had given me even the tiny little bit of rhythm, I would attempt to play the drums. But I have no rhythm. None. I can keep a beat for approximately 7.3 seconds.
Oh, you've timed yourself.
Then it's gone. It is gone.
Well, I can't speak because I don't have any musical
Do you sing?
ability. Oh, no, you don't want to hear me sing. I am tone deaf.
Then that means we can do karaoke.
Nope, not going to happen.
No? Mm-mm. I can't sing. I love doing karaoke. I'll belt it out.
You are a performer, as it's very much evident. I am not. I am in the store. That is my happy place. I might say some funny things on occasion, but yeah, I'll leave it to the professionals.
Oh, no professional at all. But I will belt out Alice Cooper Poison like if my life depended on it.
That's awesome.
And I've done it that's my go-to. It is my go-to song. And wow. Much to my wife's chagrin of me singing in public. You should have how about not you should have. May I suggest karaoke at the shop? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, probably wouldn't go over very well because there's no beverages at the store. So
it's encouragement.
Yeah, but there's definitely some places around the downtown Puyallup community that would certainly
would do it. Yeah,
they do it today.
Well, thank you so much for coming and
thanks for
spending
having
some time with me. I hope that this is the start of a whole lot more of talking into a mic that you do to promote your shop.
I'm flattered to have been asked.
Well, now when someone wants to, now that you've had someone tell you to get closer to the microphone and do sound checks, that if an opportunity comes, you'll just say yes right away.
Sure.
It's like, come in, when evening comes around. And Jose, did you meet the evening people from Evening Magazine?
Mm-mm.
So Jose, buddy, go and visit Beth's shop. What's the address?
111 West Meeker, Puyallup, Washington.
111 West Meeker, Puyallup, Washington. He's one of the producers. I've suggested one story that he should do, and he actually did it.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I will prod him to say, hey.
I am a big fan of Evening Magazine.
Oh, I love them.
They're great.
It's such a great show. Do you remember Ellen Menny?
Sounds familiar.
She was only here for a year or 2 years, maybe. She moved back to Utah or Idaho or California or Wisconsin.
One of those states.
And one of those. So she moved, but she would actually have loved your room because she was all into gothic vampire stuff and wrote a short story about that. But yeah, thank you so much. I super appreciate it.
Thank you.
Tell everyone, I know you just gave us the direction, but tell us where we can find you on social media, on anything that you do. We'll point people to you and the shop.
Well, I have a website. It's atomicgeniusrecords.com. You can find our events page. We have live in stores for local artists every once in a while. And I'm on all the socials. Well, not all the socials, but Instagram, Facebook. And we're open Wednesday through Sunday. Come see the shop and tell all your friends.
Man, it's a cool looking shop.
Oh, and you can do the 360 real estate tour of the shop on Google site. You can walk through the shop remotely
to then motivate you to go in.
Yeah, because
and spend some time and look through your inventory.
It's a very vibey shop.
It is. I'm gonna definitely go back. Thank you so much again. I super appreciate it, and don't forget to subscribe on anywhere where you get your podcasts. Look for me on YouTube. I'm working on a new sponsor. I used to have a sponsor called Rancho Bravo Tacos, but it's sold. Oh. And now it's a new business, and I'm working with them. So hopefully they'll be on board with sponsoring the show soon. And don't forget to check out my new show with Kelly Young, KCYZ Nerd Radio. It comes out every Monday, and we just talk about more records.
Excellent.
More nerd stuff. I did a whole 30 minutes on cleaning records.
Yeah.
It's probably not the most enthralling pod.
But it's good information to have. Clean records are important.
Where Kelly just sticks his record under the sink and then just washes them with his sponge and then puts them on his...
It's not good for the label.
It's not good. Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Adios.
Thank you.
That was awesome.